Hi, screen is wide. So while I have covered, some aspect of screen, I believe there are other information that you need to know about screen because know it is important. It's going to help you along the way while dealing with laptops. And in this, I'm going to talk about aspect ratio, and the relationship between aspect ratio and resolutions. Yeah, resolutions. And in the previous video, I mentioned of different resolutions, right? 720p, yeah, 720p, that is HD, right? Mentioned then 1080p, that is FHD, full HD. This HD means high definition, right? Then next is 1440p, that is QHD. Yeah, Q, this stands for quad, that is 4 times HD, right? So quad high definition. And I also mentioned that another name is they also call it 2K. Then we have there is 4K, 8K. So I'm going to explain this, right? I'm going to explain this, and also especially this 2K right here. Technically this 2K, calling this screen 4040p 2K is wrong. I'm going to get to that, right? And there's this PC that is X1 ThinkPad, right? ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Yeah, X1 Carbon, generation 10. I'm on the screen, yeah, 10 gel. It has 10 gel CPU, right? So one of the screen that I believe virtually all the screens, right? The resolution, the aspect ratio, rather. Before I go to the aspect ratio, because I haven't explained it, you notice that the screen, while this PC is 14 inches, right? It is 14 inches. So if you look at the screen, look at this. You see that this display is, yeah, that means the the width of this screen is higher, much higher than the height, right? So it's rectangular in nature. So the aspect ratio of this screen is 16. Yeah, that is talking about the width and the height, 16:9. So let me just mention about the aspect ratio. Aspect ratio simply means the ratio between the ratio of the width W to the height. Yeah, width, ratio of the width to the height. All right. Or in other words, you can just divide it. That is width over the height. All right. And how does this resolution, how does it involve this? Is the resolution that we use to determine the aspect ratio. All right. Before I go deep into aspect ratio, this is what I'm going to. Now, talking about this 14 inches ThinkPad, you notice that the screen of it's a little bit higher than this. Yeah, the screen is a little bit higher than this. So why is it that I'm going to say it? All right, so that is for the ThinkPad. You see that it is different from the regular ones we've been seeing. So we get to that, to the aspect of the resolution. All right, so talking about the aspect ratio, now I've got it to here that is the ratio between the width to the height. The width, that is, let's say for example, this is a screen. Let me use it. Let's say this is a screen. Yeah, let's say this is a screen. This is the width, yeah, W, and here is the height, H. All right. And I've mentioned in the video that you see all the screen here, they are made of pixels. Pixels. All right. They are made of pixels, and these pixels are the one that display these images. They are dynamic, right? So the total number of these pixels determines the resolutions of, yeah, of the display. Now this is where the aspect ratio comes in. Take for example, let's make an example of full HD. Yes, 1920 by 1080. Okay, so we are going to determine the aspect ratio of this kind of a display. So it's going to be what? The width. This is the width times the height. right? So now that will be 1920 divided by 1080. And to get the aspect ratio, you're going to divide this. Yeah, we take it down, right, to the lowest form. Okay, that will fit into the dimension of a display, not too small, because sometimes it will not go to the lowest form. Yeah, so let's try to break this down. Okay, so this is 1920. How can we divide this? Let me use okay, let me cancel it 0. Yeah, 0 gone. Then 192 108. So what can go here? Can 3 go? Okay, let me use 2, right? 2, this is 5 8 4. So 2 here, 2 in 19, that is 9. 2 times 9 is 18, right? So that is 9. Then there is a 1, that is 696. So let me use 2 again. All right, 2 in 54, that is 2 in 2, that is 4, 14, 7. Right? Yeah. So 2 here will be, that is 4, 8. All right. So what can go in these two? This is 48, this is 27. This is 17. Am I right about this? Yeah. This is 17, 2. No way. What about 3? Does 3 goes in 20? In 27, let me say 3 times 7 will give you 21. 3 times 4 will give you 24. No. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 4. 3 times 8 will be 24, right? And 3 times 9 will be 27, right? So that will be 9. Yeah. 3, yeah, 3 goes in 27 in 9 times. All right. So what about this? So 3 here, 3 in 4 is 1, 18. 3 in 18, that is 6. You see that? So that is 16 over 9. Yeah, 16 over 9. So that is 16 ratio 9. So that means this display, 1920, is the ratio, the aspect ratio of this screen is 16 ratio 9. Meanwhile, I made mention of that, not, to the simplest form, because 16 over 9, 3 can still go, right? 16 over 9 can't, no, okay. No, 3 can't go in 16, can it? It can't. All right, so it appears this is the simplest form. Yeah, it is. Okay, perfect. So this is 16 ratio 9. That's the aspect ratio of this 1920 by 1080 is 16 ratio 9. So that is the aspect ratio. So that is the ratio of the height. So this width is 16 and while this is 9. Do you see how I use this resolution to determine the aspect ratio? So in short, the resolution determines the aspect ratio of a screen. It's simple. That is just it. The resolution determines the aspect ratio of a screen. That is it. So for this kind of display, is this, and you can use for, let me say, for another display, that is for this one, this 1440p. So 1440p is going to be, let me take this off. Okay, let me take this off. So for the 4040, so that is will be 2560, 2560 by 1440. All right. So dividing this, you say that it's going to take you down to 16 ratio 9. The ratio is 16 ratio 9. So you can, divide it in order to get the, aspect ratio. So that is talking about aspect ratio, that you use the resolution to determine the aspect ratio of screen. All right. So that one is, explaining the relationship between aspect ratio and resolution and how to determine aspect ratio. That is, talking about screen, and not only laptop screen, generally all screen, all display. The same thing also applicable to mobile phones. Any kind of display at all. Yeah, any display have, any display has resolution. Yeah. And having resolution can use the resolution to determine the aspect ratio of such a display. Good. Now, on a screen, there is, let me also talk about, there's still another thing about screen. There's some laptops that, especially with this PC, it has a touch. Yeah, it has. I noticed that the kind of touch is different from. It does not have a kind of a layer, right? that there is a touch, maybe a kind of a glass. Let me, okay, beautiful, beautiful. So yes, you look at this PC. All right. So this, you see this glass, big glass. This is a touch, touch digitizer for this kind of PC. This ASUS PC. All right. And the same thing applicable to this PC as well. It has a touch digitizer separate from the screen. This is it here. It's a touch. And this one is HP. Yeah, X360. All right. So for screens, screen have touch, and basically three kind of touch. All right. Now talking about touch. Let me wipe all this off. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I hope you understood the aspect ratio. Beautiful. So now to touch. So there is okay, ThinkPad. Let me wipe you off. Oops. Okay. Yeah, I'm done with that. Aspect ratio and resolutions. There is this touch. Yes, that's the touch screen. Okay. So there are different types. Basically, there are three. Number one, there is in-cell. There's in-cell touch. There is on-cell touch. Yeah, CELL. That is cell, on-cell. And there is add-on. Yeah, add-on touch. So what does this mean? All these other screens that I've shown, like the ASUS that has this glass layer for touch, it is called add-on. Yeah, that is called add-on touch, because it has a touch panel is applied to the screen. But for this in-cell and on-cell touch, it does not make use of such technology. No, the cell is part of the screen. Like this in-cell, yeah, this in-cell touch, that means the touch sensor, right? Touch sensor, SENSOR, yeah, the touch sensor is, inbuilt together with the pixels, sensor plus pixels. The pixels. The pixels are those, that square box, little box that display images. Yeah. So sensor plus pixels, they are inbuilt together. So with that, the screen and the touch, they have a single layer. Yeah, it's just a single layer. Meanwhile, for this add-on touch, let's say this is the screen and the touch is at the top, like that. So there's a space, there's the air. That's why it's called add-on. There's the air in between. Yeah, so that is for this. Why this one is inside the sensor, that is touch sensor. The touch sensor and the pixels, they are together, so they form a unit. They are not two units, but this forms two units. And now there is on cell. Yeah, on cell is a little bit related to this add-on, just like the only thing is that this on cell is the touch sensor is applied on top of the screen. Remember, in cell, the touch data and the pixels, they're together, so they form a unit. But this on-cell touch, though it does not form a unit with the pixels, but it is applied to the screen. Let's say, for example, here's the screen. Yeah, here's the screen. The on-cell touch, yeah, the touch sensor is on it, so it forms two units, but it's together. Yeah, it is applied to it. Meanwhile, with this with this add-on, there's a space in between. But with this, there's no space in between. It is okay. Let me use this line, and there's another one at the top again. Yeah, another one at the top. Yes, like this. Good. Just like this. So this is how on-cell is. So basically, these are the three touch that you're going to see. All right. Yeah. So in-cell touch, on-cell touch, and add-on touch. So that is, about screen, talking about the touch digitizer, the touch being used on PCs. So in-cell touch, on-cell touch, and add-on touch. Now, the touch is off. Now, I made mention of a ThinkPad X1 Carbon with 10 GB CPU, right? That the aspect ratio is Before you go to the aspect ratio is, the normal one, this other one that we've calculated, the aspect ratio is 16:9, right? But for that S1 carbon 10J CPU, the aspect ratio is 16:10. That is why the height is a little higher than this regular one. Is it 16:10 or it is 15? Well, we are going to calculate it out. And here's the resolution of the ThinkPad S1 carbon. The resolution is 1920 by 1200. Here is the resolution. 1920 by 1200. I've seen folks asking if this kind of a screen is 2K. If it is 2K. No, we are going to get to this. If it is 2K or it is not 2K. But remember, there is this another one. This 1920 by no, that is 21. That's 2560. Yeah, 2560. Yeah, by 1440p. All right. Now this one is QHD. Yeah, QHD, or that also name, they also call it 2K. So we are going to find, this out that. So we are going to find this out if this is related to this. But looking at it, resolutions are different. And now I'm going to talk about. It's also good for me to also write this out. 1920 by 1080. What is this? This is FHD. All right. So we know this to be QHD. We know this to be FHD. Right. And it appears that this, for this Lenovo 10J X1 carbon, is in between this FHD and QHD. So I've seen folks ask if this kind of display is 2K. Like, as this is called 2K, is this also 2K? But looking at this, is it 2K? Let's see. No, according to DCI, yeah, DCI. DCI simply means that is digital cinema, cinema, yeah, the cinema initiative. Okay, yeah, standard. Yeah, this is standard, so it stops here. So digital cinema initiatives. Okay, so it's a kind of it's a standard, just like let me say like SI units. Yeah, let's say like SI units. Yeah, just like centimeter, blah blah blah. All right, bye bye. So for SI units, so this here is a standard of display measurements, right? So it is a standard DCI. So according to DCI, according to Digital Cinema Initiative Standard, they define 2K, right? They defined, yeah, as from 2K, yeah, from 2K. They define 2K as the horizontal, yeah, that as the horizontal count of pixel close to 2000, right? So according to DCI, they define 2K to be a display that has the horizontal pixel count close to 2000, right? Horizontal pixel count close to 2000. So with that, remember that like this 1920 by 1200, this is the width and this is the height. So now here's the width. Now they are saying that this width, the horizontal count of it must be close to 2000. That is for 2K. And if it is 4K, it must be close to 4000. If it is 8K, it must be close to 8000. That is the first horizontal count. From 2K, the way display is being, resolution is being measured is different from earlier display. For 720 is different, and for 1080 is different. Yeah, according to the naming, they follow a kind of television standard. All right, so it's different. So that is why, take for example, let me use this 1920. Is that if they want to mention this display, it will not be called 1920, but rather 1080. The same thing as 720 as well. The last one, the height will be used to call it because they use a television standard. But as from 2K, the name is changed. So that is why they use the width. Now, they assigned much importance to the width. So they use the width in order to call display, right? So now much emphasis is on the width. Now, so according to DCI, they are saying that 2K display is 248 by 1080. Yeah. So according to DCI, this display is 2K. And look at it, this is 2048. So this is a little bit higher than 2K. Yeah, of course, this is not going to be exactly 2000. It's going to be a little bit higher. All right, just like if you want to check for MB. MB that is 1000 kilobytes. Yeah, you know that the kilobyte must need to be more than 1000, and it's referred to as 1 megabyte. That's 1000 kilobyte but it's going to be, is it 1024 or thereabout? So the same thing applicable to this. So it's going to be a little bit higher, not exactly 2000. So there's going to be extra. Yeah, just like there's extra here. So here is 2K. And if you look at this is 2K display. You know, if you multiply the two, you are going to get the total number of pixels. So I'm not going to go into that. You can just multiply it and you see it. So this according to this here, this is 2K. And now you see this QHD. This is also refers to, this is QHD and also known as 2K. But if you look at the width here, this is 2560. It's more than this. Right? So technically, it is wrong to call QHD 2K because it is far higher than 2K. So the right name, the technical name for it is QHD. All right, so that is the correct name, QHD. But according to marketing, due to marketing, blah, 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 they prefer to call it 2K. But in reality, this resolution, this display is more than 2K. Yeah, and you can choose to call it 2.56K. Yeah, resolution, but it's going to be weird, right? Yes, it is. So the right name is QHD, not 2K, because 2560 by 4040p is higher than 2K. Why this is 2K? Now, coming back to this, that is for the ThinkPad S1 Carbon 10J CPU that uses this display, that is 1920 by 1200. Is this display 2K? If look at this 2K display, and remember, according to DCI, they are saying that a 2K display has horizontal pixel, that is the width, close to 2000. If it's 4K, 4000. Now ask yourself, is the width up to 2000? Nah, it is not. So this display is not 2K. It is not, right? So what is this display? They gave it a name actually. Interestingly, it is given a name, and the name is Wuxga. That is WUXGA. And you can also call it loosely to be extended Full HD. Yes, extended Full HD because it's a little bit higher than this. This is 1080 and this is 200. Yeah, it's a family of Full HD. That's just the simple truth. It's a family of, yeah, Full HD. It's just like it's a little bit higher. And if you subtract the pixel, this is 80, this is 200. Basically 120 pixel more. Yeah, and this is the height. And this is the extra height. That is the extra 120 more pixel at the top than Full HD. So in reality, it's a family of Full HD. Yeah, this is a family of Full HD. Just a little bit higher. That is all. So this Wuxia, what does it mean? Wuxia W. So this W, that is widescreen. Widescreen. U is ultra. Yeah, ultra. Then X is extended. Extended. This is graphics. Yeah, graphics, and A is array. Finish. Wuxga. Widescreen ultra extended graphics array. Wuxga. So that is the name given to this. So it is not 2K. This screen is Wuxga. Why this is FHD, Full HD, and this is QHD. But this display right here, it is 2K. Right? So manufacturer can determine like this. This screen just came in, yeah, with That is for the ThinkPad. So imagination can come, okay, let me just have this display. All right, so I want to have this 1920, but I want to have more this thing. Yes, it's possible to have more pieces at the top. So this can change to like, okay, let me have 2000. Yeah, let me have, that means it's going to be much long. And we have, I believe we have such display. Yeah, so with this, let's look at this. Let's determine the aspect ratio for this screen, for this ThinkPad, right? So this is 1920 divided by 1200, right? So let's take out zeros. What should we use? 120. I think, can 3 go for us? 3, 6. Uh, can it? Okay. Let me try 3. 3, 19. That will be 3 times 6 is 18, right? 3, 19. That 3 times 6 is 18. That is 12. 3 and 12, that is 4, right? So 3 here, that is 40, right? 3 and 12, that is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Then 0 here. All right. So what can go again? So let me take 2. That is 20. 2 here will give me 3, 2. So 32 over 20. 2 can still go here. This is 10, right? And here is 1, 16. Right, this is 12. Yeah, 32, 16. Good. So I was right. 16 ratio 10. You can see that. 16 ratio 10. So the ratio of this is 16 ratio 10. You see that it is, in terms of width, it's the same thing with this kind of display, right? It's the same thing with this kind of display. Yeah. Actually, this display is like 13 inches, right? Is this up to 14 inches? All right. So let me use this. So the same width, but in terms of height, it has 120 more pixels upside. So the kind of screen, this Woosga is, is good for those editing, those maybe like coding. You need more space, right? Upside space, not maybe like wide. You need more room for you to work. Yeah, that is just it. But with 16 ratio now for gaming, for maybe like design, because you need more room. Okay, you don't need upside. All right. So those that do programming, blah blah blah, we favor this kind of display because it gives them more room upside. All right. So aside from that, there's nothing special. There's nothing special. So that is that. So this is 16 ratio 10. Let me just explain more on DSI. So according to DSI, this for, yeah, that is DSI, right? And now let me make use of 4K. 4K has a resolution of, DSI defines 4K to be 4096 by 4096 by 2160. All right, by 2160. This is according to DSI. DCI. DCI says that this is 4K. Why? Remember, the width is used to determine that this width is more than 4000. So this is 4096 pixels. Right? So this is 4K according to DCI. Now, but you are not going to find this kind of display on laptop. No, you won't. Then on display on PC, this is what you are going to find. That is 3840 by 3840 by 2160. So the height is the same, but the width, they are different. So this, this according to DCI, let me just take this off. All right. So according to DCI, this is 4K. All right. DCI, 4K. But on display, on laptops, this is also called 4K. But why is this one called 4K? Meanwhile, this width is not to 4K. So that is 4K. Let's go for 8K. Okay, let me use of 8K. And according to 8K, I will say DCI, 8K is 8192. Yeah, 8192 by 4320. 4320. Yeah, 4320. And Yeah, yes, another one. This is DCI, and this is uh on laptop, on TVs, 4320. All right. So this one is DCI. DCI is Digital Cinema Initiative. All right. So according to DCI, this is 8K, which is rightly so because this is up to 8,000. But this is not up to 8,000. So they call this consumer. Yeah, consumer. Why this one is for cinema, right? And the same thing applicable to this as well. This is consumer. Okay? Consumer. That is for laptops, for TV, blah, blah. But according to DCI standard, this is 4K. But this is also called 4K. But why is that? Is it if you divide this, okay, if you determine the aspect ratio of this, it's going to take you to 16:9. The same thing applicable to this will take you to 16:9. Yeah. But for this, if you divide this, the aspect ratio will be 17:9. The same thing with this, is going to be 17:9. Yeah. So the aspect ratio of here is higher than this one. So here's the explanation given. This was I discovered that for this, because the aspect ratio of DCI is higher for that of PC. So for it to fit, okay, for this resolution to fit into laptop, to fit into 16:9, yeah, for this to fit into 16:9, because by default, the ratio of this is 17:9, right? So for them to take this, yeah, this display and turn it to 16:9, that means they have to scale down this one. Yeah, so they scale it down to, no, they have to scale down this one. So they scale it down to 3840. So that is going to fit this 16:9. The same is also applicable to this. Yeah, this was scaled down to 7680 in order for this resolution to fit into 16:9. So that was the explanation given. So that is why this, though it's not up to 4K, but it's being referred to 4K. And the same is also applicable to here. This is not up to 8K, but it's being called 8K because to fit into that ratio, 16:9, it's being scaled down. So that's just it. All right. So that is just it about this. Because some might be wondering, why is this not up to 8K? Why is it being called 4K? So I believe you know better now. That's the explanation. Now, interestingly, understanding this, what is importance? Of course, it has its own importance because now, please, you understand display fully now, and you understand different kind of displays and different kind of touch sensors, touch digitizers, right? And you also understand, aspect ratio, right? And how to calculate aspect ratio. There are some PC that are upgradable. Now, I believe you know that basically when you talk about 2K, 4K, it's just talking about pixels, that they have more pixels, right? So when you go on, take for example, let me make use of an example, X1 carbon, 6th gen, yeah, 6th gen, that is 8th gen CPU, yeah, 8th gen CPU, all right. The ThinkPad I say is 6th gen, but the CPU is 8th gen. I think it comes with full HD. It comes with full HD. Do you know that this carbon, you can upgrade it to this display that is QHD? From full HD, you can, yes, upgrade it to full HD. Yes, it can be done. Yeah, so that is for 1440p. Yeah, 1440p. QHD, it can use it. So you can, basically what is required is to change the EDP cable, yeah, and also the display. Finish. Now, from full HD, you have QHD. So there are some PC that will come with a particular display, but such a display can be upgraded. You can upgrade the display to use higher display. And remember, the higher the display, the better the quality of display. The richer is the richer the quality of the display. All right. So That is that. That is it about display. I believe with this, some information about aspect ratio, how to determine aspect ratio, and um, talking about different resolution scales, blah blah, and how they come about the names. So that is it. See you.